"Don't worry, it's just self-defense." The detective grows suspicious, curious about the footprints, as Steve explains seriously. She wants to see if the killer is alive, but when the cops pull off the mask, Steve is shocked it's a complete idiot, not David. In this case, it's true that Emily was defending herself, but since there was a casualty, she has to give her statement at the precinct while they casually cart away the deceased. Meanwhile, artist David is snooping nearby, and when he gets home, he paints Emily's picture even crazier. Even if he's useless, their feelings are real. To cheer Emily up, Steve decides to take her back to her mom's. Subtitles: "See the vine-covered mansion, Emily must have goals." Steve excuses himself to his mother-in-law, citing police paperwork. Just when she steps out, Emily calls David, and now that's her Prince Charming. Looks like Steve's ghost squad had a flop, so he meets David on a boat, only to find out the dead guy was her friend. Steve hired her because he couldn't do it himself, and David is just as innocent looking, but things ended bad. No more action for now. Steve tells her to wait for updates. That night, Mom and daughter chat, and Emily says she is leaving Steve. She's unhappy with marriage, wants to stay at a friend's, but Steve gets bad news. His shares are being taken back. Wow, bankruptcy is just around the corner. I told you, no phone calls. Emily goes home, but her keys are on strike, so she heads to the office for a spare key. She thinks back on the scene and gets a bit scared, just in time for her husband to stroll in. Awkward small talk ensues. Emily visits her friend's home, thinking her husband knows about her affair with David. Is Steve seeking revenge? Her close girlfriend tells her, no way. Subtitle: Steve had money early on, right? Your cash should have paid off. Emily looks puzzled. No contract signed? Had they, Emily might die unexpectedly, and her husband inherit a fortune. Emily calms down, finds a commissioner via her boss, and gets the news. Hobby's foreign bond investment has a hitch. The bank hopes for a turnaround. It looks unlikely. Sooner or later, she'll be out of options. Emily realizes her husband has a good reason to get rid of her. She arrives at the bureau, informs the detective of her husband's losses, suspecting intentional murder. The agents have a discovery too. They trace a phone call to the night Emily was attacked at 10 p.m. Wow, that's a slick alibi. But tearing apart and piecing together the case still shows mismatches, like a puzzle that just won't click. The deceased had a wallet with cash, a driver's license, even a tape membership card, but no keys. Steve is having a headache. The contract has turned into $50 million when he gets a call with silence on the line, and it's a recording from David, capturing all of Steve's planned swoops. Agents give info on the deceased, Lonnie, just released from state prison. Emily's eyes brighten. She recalls the killer's address. Steve finds David, clearly demanding the remaining $400 with the tape as threat. Just then, Emily sticks in her key, and it opens the lock. Hey, what an unexpected twist. In this tense atmosphere, let me recommend something great. Want to know real car sales? Get ready to check out Don Cheadle. To shut David up, Steve offers $400,000, but he finds his wife at his desk when he gets home. Emily is straight to the point, asking why the killer's key is on her keychain. Only one person in the world could do this, and the husband suddenly admits it was him. All of this was to protect Emily. He pulls out the letter and some photos. Turns out someone anonymously sent them to her, evidence of Emily's. The calls were from David 2 months ago, professing his love for Emily. Steve spent $100, yet more is demanded. All this is just to get David to leave her. Hubby loves her so much, but she doesn't seem to believe it. Then, Steve takes out David's info, targeting lonely women with his prison-learned art. Not just any info, he once swindled a widow out of all her cash. Steve wants to protect Emily, but doesn't want the details getting out. Her belly looks big. Oops. The wife feels sorry for doing him wrong, and then asks about Steve's business. Why haven't you mentioned business troubles? Hubby confidently says it's common, but the fun part is she always manages to earn money easily, Steve explains. Because David had intimidated her before, she thought it was him when she saw the body, plus the doors hadn't been tampered with. All that, she figured Emily's keys had fallen into David's hands, so Steve wanted to prevent trouble and quickly disabled. Then he took back the key and put it into Emily's keyring. Emily had no idea her husband loved her this much. She begs Steve for forgiveness, and Emily thinks it's time to call the cops. But Steve's smart. If David's caught, she can say anything, having received $100 from him. She could easily turn it into Steve murders his wife or say they killed the killer, blaming it all on David, so calling the cops now was a mess. Emily thinks the killer has a link to David, while Steve believes it's a typical robbery gone wrong.